hello, remote employees for joining. Employees here, Ivars joining us from Latvia to discuss GHT, ask him all your questions. One thing he'll discuss, but really cool about his company is he's very similar to 475 in that they supply ProClima and ventilation and then GHT. So he's knowledgeable about it all, kind of about airtight and type of buildings. So
okay, thank you, Gabby. Hello everyone. I don't know how much deep I have to go in the history of our company, because this is like sort of an inside meeting. Okay, but basically, you heard it like for a whole week. So basically, we've been 25 years ago. We started. We've been a construction company. We were, building the residential houses. And then we decided that this quality of the houses that we were building is not good enough. So we stopped doing that and became one of the first one doing blower door tests in our region in Baltic states. And we made more than 650 tests on different projects during that time. And 20 years ago, we started the ventilation business. And about 18 years ago with ProClima, 89 years roughly. So during that time, we became more and more familiar with heat recovery ventilation systems, why it's done, why it's needed, and we decided that this is not good enough, and we want to improve the ventilation systems. When we started to look around and see what we can do, how to reduce the electricity consumptions of the systems, and we came across the idea to develop the geothermal products that can be used with the ventilation systems. It's always confusing. People are confusing our units with heating systems, which is general understanding of how this geothermal can be used. So, and ever since, it's what, like 11 years ago, we decided, we designed the first products. Okay, the first units we were created was in sheet metal insulated box, and everything was fitted inside it, and we were trying in and out. And after half a year, we decided to stop it because the quality of the product we were having at that time was not good enough, and we decided to change drastically and dramatically and look for other solutions that we can use in order to produce our units. So then we decided to use EPP, which is currently used as well. So it's very light, it's very compact. We can design it as we want. So we spent like half a year in R&D and trying to figure it out how to fit everything in the smallest box possible. In the same time, keeping the same quality, keeping the pressure drop low, and integrate as much components as we can. So, and we succeeded and then created the product like it is today. So it's still in the market for more than 10 years. So we sold globally, not much, like 1,500 units, basically in Europe. And now you guys started here. So for that, I thank you. So it's going to be an interesting ride. And this is how it looks today. So about the product range, we have G2000 and up to G8000, and the smallest one without the top compartment. That was not presented during last week, but this is internal meeting, so I think you should know it. And the biggest unit, the same G1000 you having in stock, so there's a circulation pump, filling group, everything required. That's an all-in-one solution, just plug and play. It's pretty simple to connect. You need a controller, you need the ventilation systems, and a smart guy to do that, to connect everything. The G2001 and up to G8001 is just a coil with a filter. Usually our customers are using those units when they have heat pumps, meaning you can connect the same unit. You can connect heat pumps and our units in the same loop. So basically, anything, all you need is a circulation pump, but that has to be put on a wall because the rest of the system, like filling groups, expansion vessels, has already been in place with a heat pump system. This way you can reduce the expenses, right, on the whole system. But most of, yeah, so this is why this two options were created. So I have at home heat pump and I have the G4001 unit in my house. So it's gonna connected to one system. Operates once.
But do you do preconditioning or
The same way. The same way.
with the heat pump?
What?
So not with ground loop, but with the heat pump.
No, it's wrong loop. I'm using the same loop for the heat pump and for our system. It's
I
just
see.
splitting. This is both units.
Okay, I see this.
Yeah.
So you have the full geothermal system.
Correct.
And then you also use the loop for
Yes. Yes.
Or-
Yes. Yes. For heating and for ventilation, same loop, right? You don't need to have extra
because
loop.
in the US we always when you say heat pump, everything they call it the air to air or air to
No, no.
water heat pump.
No, it's geothermal.
geothermal.
Yeah, both. Yeah. So this is the reason the smallest one were created. So about the components inside, so we have circulation pumps, filling groups, filters, coils, everything you need. So the volume range, the airflow range, the G8000 goes up to 1,000 cubes, which can be used with larger units or two smaller units connected to one G8000, for instance. Also, G6000 is very, very capable, right? The difference is that the G8000 has a copper fins. Due to the material properties, we can have larger kilo outputs. That's the only reason. I think in terms of the surface area of the fins, I think it's a little bit slightly larger than G8000, but not much. Right? And it's much heavier. Actually, the copper is much heavier than the aluminum. So commissioning is very easy. Just open the first front door, take out the filler, replace it with a new one, and that's it. You can use two fillers in the same time, like a pre-filler here, and the second filler you can put over here. So whether it's going to be active or carbon filler or any class. So the advantages. So we have the lowest pressure drop. Housing is made of PPP. Very high heating and cooling power. You see that? Nothing. So the unit is designed to be a left and right-handed version. You just replace the fillers, and you can use it either way, and it's very, very light. You have seen it already, so you can. Gabby was trying to lift it. She did it. So yes. What else? How the system works? Just basically, we have a ground loop that is used in the winter times to warm up the incoming air. Of course, there's some advantages over there. In the summertime, it's completely opposite. We are cooling down the air. So just using ground. So about the performance, we got the monitoring data from the wells, British Columbia, Canada, from February. Can you see actually? Oh yes. So outside, this is outside fresh air temperature. It was dropping down to 6.8 Fahrenheit, and after geothermal unit, the air didn't even go below 41 degrees. So our system performance capacity is very high, and it can run even in lower temperatures than this. So this is a monitoring data from the University of Padua in Italy. The university is 800 years old, very respectable in Italy in this industry, and they've been monitoring that a whole year round. And came to a conclusion that without our geothermal unit, the increase of electricity would go up by like 30% in winter time. I mean, it's accumulating and then, well, helping the building to reduce the electricity consumption. This I made the calculation about the comparison between traditional systems and geothermal, meaning that during the winter time you need to preheat the incoming air with electricity usually, and without geothermal unit you can see it's a big difference in the savings. So we are having like 95% of savings in electricity just running our geothermal unit. That is for the ventilation system. In the summer it's even better. So you can actually play with the figures to see what the actual savings are.
But why you only use the geothermal system 8 hours per day?
In the summer, well, during the night times, front temperature dropping. It depends, of course, of the
Not in the US.
not in the US. Okay, so it's going to operate even longer.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of the climate you're using this. But you see the tendency. So this is a very big savings because it's going to operate anyway. It's going to require only 30 watts of operating. So
you would have 4 times, 8 hours for 3 times. 3 times as much.
yeah, so you can do the math. No. And our system works and have highest performance at the coldest winters and at the hottest summers. So if you have a climate where you are both, that's good. Can justify even easier. So our units are not popular in UK. Well, they don't have summers and winters.
Have you sold any units?
None. None. They were saying, okay, it's nice, it's good, right? But well, we don't have summers all the time, autumns or springs or whatever it is, and raining. So maybe a couple of days during June,
Right.
which doesn't make any big effect to the housing, temperatures. So yeah, this is very simple. I took the 680 watts here because I was calculating 1.5 kilowatts as a highest at the lowest temperatures, and this is an average, right? So, but it's like an engineer, so you can calculate. So, ground collection brine circuits. So, there are 2 types that can be used. One is flat collector. The second one is boreholes that we could use or suggest to use. And this is interesting. I found it over the weekend, so this is new for me as well. So, as you can see in US, at the 30 feet below the surface, this is a groundwater temperature, which actually you can use for calculation. I didn't have the time to go through the full report, but I dropped the link below. So actually you can go to it, and I will send it to you as well if you like. So you can just read about it. So for the boreholes, it's very nice. It's still going to be very, very constant temperature down below. But here is some clear indications about how what are the temperatures. So what else? Some of you might see this one, I think. Yeah, this is New York. And we see the fluctuation between within different months. So I think green was May. So, and I would suggest to create the collector just below the 5 feet of that. So here you can see that the difference between 2 of them are not so high anymore. So here it's not going to work very well. And as you can see, the deeper it goes, the more stable it becomes. So temperature fluctuation is not so high anymore, right? That's why the borehole is always very stable. So, oh yes, so about the questions. I was trying to write down the questions that we're usually getting. This would be a help. What is that unit? Is that a heat pump? This is usually the first question. And there are some answers I'm usually explaining to people. This is not a heat pump, and this is for preparing the air for the ventilation systems. is the unit fit for my house? So usually how we picking up the unit. So first of all, you're calculating the required airflow for your ventilation system. And then based on those airflow, you are choosing our unit. But since you have only one, which is okay, right? G6000 is still applicable for all of your units you are selling, which is fine, right? How deep the glycol unit has to be installed. So usually installation has to be done below the freezing zone, depending on the kind of climate. So you have to know it. And of course, a little bit deeper. The Canada case shows that 8 to 10 feet they have installed this collector. This is working very, very good. Even in the sandy soils they have, which is amazing. So if you can do that, go so deep, it's great. Yeah. So the percentage of glycol used. So this has to be consulted with the local producers of the glycol mixtures. I have something I found online here. There are a lot of producers, and on the table. A certain percentage goes to what temperature, right? To avoid freezing. This is the most important thing.
But the more glycol you have, the more the pump has to work. Is that correct?
Yes, but it's handling it.
Yes.
Yeah, because our pumps.
So that's the downside, right? Otherwise, why don't you just all put glycol?
Oh yes,
More
yes.
expensive.
It's more expensive. Yeah. But our pumps are specifically designed to use in the geothermal systems. It's not regular.
Right.
So it's especially for this application. So it's already in our handled in. So, it's hard to see. Okay. How to calculate the length of the ground collector? We have Excel sheet. Gabi will share with you. She has it as well. And this can be used as a simple first tool to understand approximate length of the ground collector required for every specific case. But this is like a rough calculation, and usually we are suggesting to use and to ask for local engineers to recheck it, right? But for first impression of the length of the collectors, this can be used in your inside too. So what else? How to control the unit? The basic principle of operation of the pump is that we have two-stage controllers. So this is a winter mode when it has to be if the temperature drops below 32 degrees or any other preset temperature depending on the ventilation unit, right? So this has to operate. So in between, so it's off. In the summer, it's cooling. It's also on, right? It's also these are you're going to preset them and break, right? I think you have possibility to do that. So it's very simple, and it's controlled by the temperature sensor, which is installed in the fresh air before geothermal. So how often filter has to be changed? So we are recommending you are checking every 3 months filters, and every half a year you are changing. Every 3 months you just open, have a look at it, just vacuum if needed. So put it back and replace. But the replacement is twice a year. Can two filters be installed into the unit? Yes, it can be installed. So you can, as I said, you can use a pre-filter as the first one, and then MERV 13 or carbon filter as the second one. I'm using also two, and we still have two more in the ventilation unit itself as well. But I could actually, as the next question is here, is the same. You can take out one filter from the ventilation.
And the filter is bigger in the GHT, right?
I don't know how big is in here, but probably in terms of surface, probably yes. We're now switching. Sorry,
Which is less pressure problem.
Oh yes. I was wondering because I used this MERV 8 and carbon filter myself. I was wondering when the unit can alarm. So because of rising pressure,
right?
But it didn't. And I have two filters in the ventilation system unit. So I thought, okay, good, it's runs. So nice. I didn't do anything. So is there in the system? I have 4 filters. So, and of course, I don't have any smells like from the wood burning or whatever because my neighbors are just having fireplaces and stuff like that and heating a house and it smells outside and have a clear fresh air inside. So basically, sorry. And no, something went wrong. Okay, here we go. So, something's not good. Sorry. Is this one sometimes? Oh, no, it is. No. What's this? That should be good. Apologies. So, yeah, the next question, can the unit be applied to the ducting system which has a smaller duct size? Yes, then you have to read the user reducers. Of course, there has to be installed, but we're going to launch a new project when creating the reducers. So this is what we're getting from the market. You actually need, guys, and this will help you out big time. Yeah. To avoid spending too much time on just fixing it in the system. So, what else? Does the fresh air ducting has to be insulated? Yes, it's usually as a whole system, but this questions we are getting. And this is interesting. When's the installation going to pay off? So, that's a tricky question. Yeah, this usually gets you in some trouble, but that's okay. Well, if we calculate the amount of electricity you are saving, of course you can use it. On the other hand, how you can calculate the well-being of your family, the air quality you have inside, the coolness, right? This is completely different. Well, we cannot calculate. I cannot do the math on this. So, pleasant indoor environment is what we are paying for, actually, at the end of the day. To feel good, without drafts, without air conditioning inside, so it's well, yeah. But of course, people usually like to understand when it's going to be the return of investment. This is yeah. The only thing we can do is just calculate the savings on electricity. Can the unit be installed horizontally? No, it can't. So because underneath it has the rotation connection. So it's always stays put as it is. Is air conditioning better? Yes and no. Yeah. With our unit, you can't put the required temperature you want in-house. It's not with air conditioning you can. But electricity consumption all comes along, so there are pluses and minuses in our system and air conditioning. So that's the one you have to choose. Oh, now we are on-site installations. This is a passive house in Canada. How it looks installed. This is a collector in the same project. Yeah, alongside the brink in France. And then you can stop me anytime. So if you want more on this.
Where was the project in Canada?
Sorry?
Where was the project?
Revelstoke, BC. Yeah. That was where the monitoring data was from, the same project. It's an Italy and school project. You can see you can use, they use 4 of our units, the small ones, without the top compartments to accommodate one larger ventilation system. So I also,
When they do that, are there separate loops or one loop that branches off?
I don't know actually, but I would go. I think there's going to be there was a vertical borehole, but I can find out. This
It was outside there, but can the EPP be outside?
it was not finished yet. I think they covered it. We will just wait to
Right.
years, right? So
Right.
It has to be covered somehow. Yeah. This is also a project, as you can see, sometimes loops you can install in the house. This I found it interesting. Also solution, and they use the EPS, what is it, as installation on top of it, but please you need some smart guy to calculate what the thickness you're gonna need on top. So
And now he's
yeah, so it operates at the end of the day. It works, right? But this is a good job for engineer to calculate. This is a project with apartment buildings, where our units were installed on the balconies. See, they also have a collector system, 17 apartments in total, and on every balcony is a ventilation system plus unit. It's Italy. Yeah, south of Italy. Yeah. That's why it's easy to put in the balcony. So this is also interesting. The same, they use the piping system of collectors also inside the house. It's not so sharp to see. And this is the under as well.
those parts are pretty close, or no?
Yeah, and sometimes I see there is no like a half a meter or whatsoever next to, between them.
With somebody else's side.
Yeah. And this is renovation. Also, as you can see, they put it under the ground. Yeah. Also inside. So there's no yard. Just to try to figure it out how to use it. And I think that was about it. Yeah, some extra installations. Oh yes. I was trying to run this way. So yeah, basically this is easy. The more complicated is actually the ventilation system itself. Right. Our unit is just like good addition to the ventilation systems you're going to have.
So if somebody done it under a slab, and then it was not longer, not enough capacity. So then in the end of the winter.
Yeah, that's a problem.
No, I know, but have you heard about
No,
this? Or?
no. This is why it's very important to calculate required split, right? This is for engineers. It's the our collector system is crucial for our system, right? It's a fuel for our system. It should not be too small. Right. This is very important to understand. And
the pump energy doesn't really increase much by making a lot.
Well, by making too long, no.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. So you make it 50 foot too long, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
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 But
Sure.
But if you don't have the 50, you miss the 50 feet.
Yeah.
The system in March or
Yeah.
end of February is not working.
That is a different story. Yeah. It should not be too small.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
For your customers, what are common complaints or problems that they would come and face?
Oh, that's a good one.
Important.
Yes, I'm in trouble now.
I can see one minute.
Well, sometimes some of them told me that it's too big as in size. Because in some countries in Europe, the boiler rooms are very tiny and they're trying to squeeze in somehow. And that was the one. Then, of course, people are trying to complain when they do something wrong with it. If they, instead of glycol, they have filled in the water and our geothermal coil exploded in the winter time.
That happens?
Yes, 2 times
All right.
over 10 years. It's frozen, yeah.
Yeah.
It's frozen, yeah. Don't use clear water, so just be careful about it. So it's not under warranty, right?
Because they're like, oh, it's not going to freeze.
Correct. And that
it
was
does
in
freeze.
Germany, actually. And I was surprised, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that they were sent.
Well, that's the thing, because it only needs to be what, -5°C or something.
Yes.
It'll freeze.
Yes. And it happened.
Yeah.
And they sent us, okay, what do you have in, I was asking, okay, listen, what was a medium inside the fluid, right?
Yeah.
They're saying, oh, it's black. And I said, listen, why it's white? I said, okay, where it's installed? I just look at the city, look at the dates. I said, listen, you had minus degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was it water? In a like a couple of hours, you get an email. Oh yes, it was water. Yeah. Well, no, it's not gonna explode with a glycol, right? It's rich was damaged, right? It's cannot be replaced. You have to buy a new unit.
Sure.
So that's it. Well, basically, and we've been having not like a complaints, but during these 10 years, we had 2 warranty cases due to the pump failure. So when we shipped out a new pump and our partners just replacing it. Of course, filling all the system, but okay, it's gonna be done.
Yeah.
Any-
But you take the pump out inside the box.
Yeah, it's easy.
Alright.
It's easy. Unscrew 2 screws. Of course, you have to
Yeah,
drop
the
deep
water-
pressure
yeah,
in the
yeah,
system, but then it can be done quickly. It's very, very good accessing.
Well,
And-
you have to get some.
What?
You cannot get to the top of the unit, then the problem.
Oh yes, oh, yes. Installation spacing. Please consider that. And sometimes you might need to get over to.
So remove it, and then you can only replace the pump.
Yeah, it's one way of doing this.
Yeah.
Let me see this.
That's in the guide, the recommended space above the unit.
There are no recommendations actually, as long as you can put your head inside to look at it, and some couple of pens in case you need anything.
Yeah.
Because the filling of the system also comes in top compartment, so you have to
Yeah.
access
Right.
it. At the start. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, let us know, everyone who's remote, if you have any questions, you can chat them.
Have you had to replace the expansion tank on the systems?
Oh yes, I think once, like 3 or 4 years ago, there was a problem. But those appears usually in the first year, I think. So it's
And
also-
how did they determine it was the expansion tank? Not like, was it just the pressure?
it was not keeping the pressure.
Can you still see
Going
the
down,
presentation when it's like
so-
this in this view?
And I think we shipped the extension.
Okay, great.
It's also easy. to
But you can
replace
tell
it.
it wasn't a leak in the field or in the bore as compared to.
Hard to tell how they
Yes, I
how
can
they
see
did
this.
that, but yeah. But our units 100% are tested before it's leaving. We are not shipping out anything without 100% tested. We are putting a 24-hour pressure test with the water inside. That way, sometimes before installation, water can drip out from the units. And we are 100% sure that we are not sending anything out if it's not holding the pressure in the system.
Is there a built-in gauge in the unit, a built-in pressure dial?
No, not anymore. Pressure dial to see the pressure inside. Yeah, that is it. We used to have pressure relief valve, but that was taken out due to the fact that you have to have it on highest point in the system, and also the air release valve. So since the connections of the glycol comes in from the top, so our unit is not going to be the highest point in the system.
I've got a few questions
Sure.
on this end. People are asking about the EPP exterior. How do you reply to those concerned about foam?
Foam is EPP is actually very, very human friendly and environmental friendly because it's used in the helmets. It's used also the same material in the baby seats. It's used in the automotive industry and car industry. Of course, please do not eat that. So it's gonna harm you, but still, there are no VOCs. It's recyclable. There are the web page online about EPP in Europe, which explains how it's produced and how it can be recycled and how long it can last. But I think it's going to last for 50, 60 years. And I'm not going to be any problem with it.
Okay, and then can you discuss how Passive House Institute considers the GHT in certifying or in PHPP?
Oh, they know us very well because we are participating all the time in exhibitions and the Passive House conferences. They know that, and they have, I think, in PHPP also the availability to apply to the calculation this technology, not our unit. But all the years we're getting reply that they cannot certify our unit because they honestly don't know how to. So, yeah.
But
But it's
there's kind of a tool, right, to calculate the additional efficiency.
Should be pretty
Plus.
easy. Yes.
No, just to, in the ventilation sheet to add. Because now your outside temperature is not the outside temperature that
Mm.
climate conditions give you.
Yeah.
There is something for it, increase could be, I don't know about roof capacity, but there should be something. Something you put in a ventilation sheet to account for.
Yeah, like 5 or 6 years ago, there were no options about this in the HPP as far as I know.
Yeah, no, but I do think, I remember too, I think Jimmy was talking about
Yeah.
that and maybe someone had shaped as well. But something.
Okay, and then last one, which I think you partially already answered. Can the brine loop be buried underneath the foundation of a house?
Oh yeah. But please calculate that. So we are not strong in calculating specifically on the ground loop.
So some insulation might be needed there.
Yes, definitely.
Someone had pointed out that maybe that it would maybe keep more heat in the earth because of the radiant effects of the foundation. They kind of like
Oh, it's in the winter, you will eventually cool down the soil below the house, it will be below the house.
mhm.
Yeah, so you
But it's not dramatic,
Yeah.
so it makes it slightly cooler.
Mhm.
In winter, it's slightly warmer.
Right, like you're stealing from yourself.
Yeah, you kind of, but it's probably like an 80% reduction factor. or something. Since you have insulation, that's a really.
Right.
Any other questions on this end?
Since a lot of people in this room have never touched or seen the Compo Fund, which is Center's equivalent to this, or can you talk about like the differences and how heavy and everything that is?
The difference between our units,
Let's get the
Yeah.
EC up, show like it.
the difference between our units and comfort fund is that comfort fund size is close to the right, and so that's one point. The other point is performance of the units. Are you going to take a look?
Back to two dishes.
Huh? Too good when you're hot to do that.
He didn't do this, I did this. Well, Phil's very light.
It's not that
While you can't pick up a comfort.
I think what cut out was really just about the weight of the unit, which he decided to do with a live demo.
Way? No.
And then a little conversation about ground loops under a house and a technical conversation.
Like this. So, yeah, as you can see, it's very small actually. So back to Zender's unit. Their unit is I think is this size larger, much heavier, and their biggest unit in terms of the power output are this smaller than our smallest unit. So their capacity is limited. So it was not intentionally when we designed it, but it's happened. So G2000 unit has better performance than their SD3 something. Was the biggest. Yeah. It's The weight of their unit is like 50 or 60 kilos. As a brick, I think brick is even lighter, right? What was the weight of the brick?
Pounds, 70 pounds, so 40 kilos.
So yeah, the comfort one is much heavier.
And so the compo fund has like a metal casing
Yes.
that's then insulated.
Yeah,
Versus yours is just
Yeah.
thermal bridge for you naturally, and that's
Yes,
what makes it light.
and we refused to produce it like 10 years ago, but they still producing it. So what else? The rest is the same. They have duct connection 160. That was worse, and the pressure drop are higher than theirs. You know.
There's the only duct connection they have, 160.
Yes.
Oh.
And the airflow goes in their unit like from the top and
Right.
back and like this, and then have somehow out. I think so this was the case. So
Can you guys talk about shipping for a minute?
yes.
It sounds like a unit that arrived in Boulder isn't fit for resale. How do they ensure that these units are safe in transit?
Well, don't drop them.
What were we saying?
This is Johnny.
Yeah, it's damaged unit.
Oh, we shipped the UPS because we wanted to try it.
Yeah.
So I guess we
Yeah.
shouldn't ship the
That's on
UPS.
us.
Please don't ship it without pallet.
Right, no, so we tried it, and so it didn't work.
Yeah. That's the first time I see it's damaged so heavily. Because we are shipping all the time in the pallets, even if one unit goes in a small pallet to avoid any the
Right.
delivery guys just
No,
throwing and
it was
dropping.
a trial, so what happened to us? The corners
No, the inside.
or the inside?
Yeah,
The
the
unit
inside.
itself, you can't tell that there's any.
Oh, seriously?
any
No,
damage to the corners or anything.
no. When we arrived, we opened up and so listen, there's something wrong with it. So
It's a bit
everything is bended inside.
Yeah.
So it means it's dropped on the front side, right?
Yeah. No, somebody is wrong.
Yeah.
So that's close.
Yeah.
But without filling it up, you suggested that we fill it up.
Well, try to
water
fill
and make sure
try to
that-
fill it up locally, not
Because
connected to the
there
system.
might not
If
be an
it's-
issue.
If there are no leaks, you can
Right.
use it.
Yeah.
Because the first I think I noticed, this pipe is not
They'll
straight.
cook it.
It's like tilted to this side. So
Yeah,
listen, no.
Even though
That's wrong.
there's the extra foam blocks on top and the bottom. That's when I first saw this one. I was like, oh, maybe you could ship it.
Yeah, and then
But if you drop it too hard, you get it.
so
And normally we ship the brink on a pallet everything, so it's not a problem.
please do so.
Yeah.
Much better. Too.
No, it is, but we might have some for that. Just one of my GHT,
Exactly.
which is
So-
okay, but then the shipping will be much more expensive by itself. Especially
Yeah,
on
but you're
this-
facing you can have some problems.
No, of course, if it arrives damaged, it doesn't help anyone.
Mhm.
Some more questions?
That's everything from our end currently, unless anyone has any more.
Air goes in the inside. That's the, when you open up the coil there with the two filters, so you can change it, right? Filter on one side or the other side or both, but generally, like you want at least the filter.
Pre-filler should
before.
be inside.
Yeah. Yes, so
Yes.
whatever the direction of the air is, and it can be either direction, which is
Right.
nice with this unit. You want the filter on where the incoming air is.
Has anyone seen actually what's inside? Sure.
Some of us have, but. Valve and the pump.
Okay. Do you think we're good for webinar purposes?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for joining.
Thanks, guys. Okay, we'll see the inside first.
Yep. No worries. This happening. So the flow is that air comes from the one side, going actually through the coil, and escapes, right?
It just comes this way.
Yeah,
Or that way.
sure. Regardless, yeah. Depending on how it's sharp. Yeah, you can cut your hands.
And then it's like,
Yeah. So here comes the glycolin. Below it goes out, and if we just lift a little bit, you can see in the middle there's a condensation connection.
Oh, yeah.
See, you need a dry siphon. It's going to condensate a lot in the summertime when it's cooling. And oh, you can show it. Here's the filling valve. So in the manuals there is a description how to do that, and everything you need. Pump. Yep. And in a set there is a sensor coming as well.
How big a field can that pump handle? Like